Go ahead and believe you're safe and snug, America. Don't bother to look and see a CIA without any real leadership, the NSA in chaos, and that story about ISIS buying a nuke from Pakistan and bringing it across the border. Hey, nothing to see here, which also happens to be the campaign slogan for Hillary Clinton at the moment, but there are lawsuits brewing she will not be able to avoid. And would that our various political standouts go one day without opening mouth and inserting foot. Ah, what history we could make. And in telling it like it is, how ESPN shamefully uses Caitlyn Jenner to make a buck and spit on real athletic courage. Stop standing on words from mouthpieces and remember there is something to see here. I'm Ed Berliner. This is The Hard Line for Thursday, June 4th, 2015.
A judge heard oral arguments in the case House versus Burwell. And I'm encouraged that the court is taking a skeptical look at the president's unilateral and unprecedented changes to Obamacare. The idea that the House of Representatives isn't harmed by taking away the power of the purse is ludicrous.
We don't have to resign ourselves to debt, decay, and slow growth. We have the power to make things new again, to project America's strength again, and to get our economy going again. And that is exactly why today I am running for the presidency of the United States of America.
To the Biden family, we cannot begin to understand the depths of your loss. Know that we grieve with you. Beau is now of the ages. He and you have our eternal gratitude.
We passed the most significant surveillance reform in decades. We've done it by setting aside ideology, setting aside fear-mongering, said we will protect the security of the United States, but we also protect the privacy of Americans.
Albert Einstein was a man of some intelligence. Somewhere along the line, as he was dispensing quotes, he once said, "The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it." Doing something about it is becoming increasingly difficult in the modern world, especially when you have one organization, seemingly with hands tied, another with no one at the top watching to see who is maintaining law and order, and the repeated promise from the well-funded killers they will be seeking to smuggle a nuke into America any day now. Everybody feel safer? Let's attack this from two fronts. First up, the NSA fallout and listening along the border. Our guest is CEO of PrivacyStar, dealing in phone apps to protect consumers from scams and spam. And he's author of Matters of Life and Data, the remarkable journey of a big data visionary whose work impacted millions, including you. Charles Morgan. Charles, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I want to warn you, I'm having a little bit of internet difficulty here, so it's been a little spotty. I think Comcast has got us here.
Don't worry about a thing. I think maybe somebody from the dark internet is involved here because they don't want us talking about this, and maybe the NSA is listening here.
They probably
You
are,
never know. Which leads me right to the
are.
first issue here then, Charles. Here's the NSA secretly expanding their internet spying at the U.S. border, even after what we've heard with regarding the Freedom Act and the Patriot Act. Look, you know this as well as I do. The NSA is not sitting down and not taking this lightly, are they? They're still out there doing their job, or at least trying.
Well, I think the NSA is well-intentioned. I think they truly believe in their heart they are protecting the American people. The problem I have with what the NSA is doing is that the amount of information that they're collecting, and now that they are getting into the more in the internet realm, they're going to have information about too much in one place. And we go back to Edward Snowden and all the information he found and had access to. All the NSA has to do is have a few bad apples there, and all of a sudden you could have the mother of all data breaches.
So here we have, and speaking of data breaches, this news in today, the U.S. government that collects personal information for the federal employees said they have a cybersecurity breach. 4 million current and former federal employees, their information is now out there, Charles, and they're thinking that this is the Chinese. We can't stop these people, can we?
No, we cannot. I was doing an interview earlier today, and I commented that all somebody has to do is find a pinhole in security and ease through that pinhole, and the whole world opens up inside of them. You look at some of the most famous data breaches in the last 10 or so years. And it was just a small intrusion into one server that compromised the whole enterprise, whether it be Sony or Target or others. A tiny little pinhole, and the whole inner workings and all the data of that company, its employees and customers, can be opened up to the world.
Charles, I only got 20 seconds left. Are we any closer to closing those pinholes, in your opinion?
No way, no way. The problem is getting worse. The bad guys are getting more sophisticated, and we are opening up more and more opportunities for them with the Internet of Things and the enormous data collection that is going to have a route in no matter what we do with the current level of protection we have. We need something way beyond what we have today.
And we're going to continue to follow this. Charles Morgan from PrivacyStar, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Now let's go ahead and spin to the CIA side and the simmering issue of ISIS taking all that money and becoming a nuclear power. Welcome back, veteran CIA analyst and our go-to on the intel community. Lisa Ruth joins us here in the studio. Always good to see you. I know we have to talk a little bit about CIA here, but let me just go ahead and focus right on that at the top. We've heard this before, ISIS saying we've got enough money, we can go to the Pakistanis now and we can buy a nuke and smuggle it across the Mexican border. How much of this is hyperbole in reality?
You know, I think it's the fact is this is possible. So let's start with that. It is true. They have enough money. They have enough access. I think the more immediate danger would be something like a dirty bomb, which is not a nuclear weapon. You know, keep in mind.
Much easier to smuggle.
Absolutely much easier. And really, the damage it would do, it's an explosive with radiation. You know, so this is something you could stick in a backpack and walk across a border. Also, let's not pretend at all that our borders are secure. That's not something that anybody really believes. And so you're talking about a situation where I think what you have to look at is ISIS a threat? Yes, ISIS is a threat. Are our borders secure? No, they're not secure.
But can they buy and are they ready to, or would they be close to buying a nuke from Pakistan?
I think it could happen. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. You know, if you say, is it going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. But keep in mind, you've also got a Pakistani military and a security service. Certainly, we're not talking about the Iraqis. They're not running. On the other hand, there are elements inside that military that we know have sold weapons, not nuclear weapons, but, you know, everybody's got a price, right? How far is that away?
That's not a big price either for the Pakistanis.
Right.
Let's talk about the CIA. The Justice Department says the CIA's top watchdog, that position is vacant, and it likely won't be filled anytime soon. So people are saying this is an agency now that is completely stopped in its tracks. What does that do to our national security?
Well, I'd like to give you the political answer, politically correct answer.
No, don't give me that. You're not allowed here.
So the answer is, in all my years at the agency, I never once dealt with the IG. We have an oversight in terms of operations and activities. The oversight comes from Congress. The oversight comes from the National Intelligence Officer. It comes outside the IG. The IG is looking at internal problems. We absolutely do need it. There's no question about it. But I think it's a little bit overstated to say that it's a paralysis. The problem comes from who's watching the watchers, right? You know, that's really
Always.
the issue. And considering we do know that there are tensions between the Senate, for example, and the CIA based on the Feinstein situation, the question does become, are we in a situation where perhaps some elements within the CIA could take advantage of the fact that there's not an IG and perhaps do things that are pushing up against the limits?
What a stunning thought indeed. 30 seconds left. Here we have now a report that airmen at Halibut Field, Florida, recognized a comment on social media, turned that into an airstrike that destroyed an Islamic State in Iraq and Syria headquarters building. We can't shut this social media down completely because guess what? Sometimes it helps.
I think it's outstanding. I think this shows really what intelligence is meant to do. It is not only finding sources, it's not only the SIGINT. This is the kind of stuff, culling through massive amounts of information and finding that little nugget, and absolutely I applaud them on this.
And this is going to become more important now with the Freedom Act, Patriot, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
because now this is going to be the kind of stuff that we really have to rely on to find the bad guys.
Watch out for disinformation, however. ISIS plays this game at least as well as we do.
See, and there you go. It's one thing we always get to. They get better every time we get them. They get a little bit better every time.
Yep.
All right, Lisa, always a pleasure. Thanks a lot for joining us. All right, now, when we come back, the law is coming for Hillary Clinton. They're ready. They think they've got her. How many times have we heard that before, right? That's next, right here on the fastest 60 minutes of news. Stay with us right here on The Hard Line.